In the days of King Xerxes, ruler of 127 provinces, Persia stood as the greatest empire on earth. From India to Ethiopia, his word was law. Gold filled the palaces, power filled the air. But in the midst of all this glory, one decision would change the fate of a nation forever.
During a royal banquet, King Xerxes summoned Queen Vashti to display her beauty before his guests. But Vashti refused. Her defiance shook the palace, and with one command, her crown was taken away. The throne of Persia now stood empty, waiting for a new queen.
Across the empire, young women were gathered for the king. Among them was Esther, a quiet Jewish orphan raised by her cousin Mordecai. She was humble, she was graceful, and she kept her identity hidden, just as Mordecai advised. Out of all the women in Persia, the king loved Esther most, and Esther was crowned queen.
Haman, the king's most powerful official, walked with pride. Everyone bowed before him. Everyone except Mordecai. Day after day, Mordecai refused to bow. Haman's pride turned into rage, and his hatred grew beyond one man, toward an entire people. Haman convinced the king to issue a deadly decree. Scrolls were sent to every province. On a single appointed day, all Jews, young and old, women and children, were to be destroyed. Fear spread across the land, and Mordecai cried out in the streets. Esther heard of the decree. Her heart trembled. Mordecai sent her a message. Do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone will escape. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this? Esther was silent. A tear fell. The moment of destiny had arrived. Esther sent her reply. Gather all the Jews in Susa and fast for me. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law. And if I perish, I perish. Fear gave way to courage. Faith rose. Dressed in royal robes, Esther entered the inner court. The room fell silent. One wrong step could mean death. Then the king lifted his golden scepter. Esther had found favor, but she chose wisdom, inviting the king and Haman to a banquet. That very night, the king could not sleep. The royal records were read aloud, and the king discovered that Mordecai, the man who saved his life, had never been honored. The plans of men were shifting. What Haman meant for evil was beginning to turn. At the second banquet, Esther stood before the king. Her voice trembled, but her heart was firm. If I have found favor with you, your majesty, grant me my life and spare my people. The king rose in anger. Who is this man? Esther pointed and said, This vile Haman. The trap Haman built for others became his own downfall. He was punished, and a new decree was sent throughout the empire. The Jews were allowed to defend themselves. Mourning turned into strength. Fear turned into victory. The enemies were defeated. Families rejoiced. Tears turned to celebration. Mordecai was honored and placed second only to the king, using his power to seek good for his people. God is never mentioned in the book of Esther, yet his hand is everywhere. One brave woman, one faithful decision, and an entire nation was saved. For such a time as this.